What's up, guys? We are back again for another retro review. Fat Samurai Guy here with Lady Fat Blood. Sorry, guys, okay? It's been a while. We're behind schedule.
Life happens.
We're behind schedule, okay? And I have been under the weather for past, like 2 weeks ago. I was out for the whole week, which set our whole review schedule back. But we are back now, which is a good thing. And today on Retro Reviews, we're going to talk Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. And if you haven't seen any of these films and you're afraid of spoilers, pause this video right now, go watch those two movies, and then come back! Here is the plot synopsis for Mission Impossible 3. Agent Ethan Hunt comes into conflict with a dangerous and sadistic arms dealer who threatens his life and his fiancée in response.
Yay! We have come a long way from MI2, the oddball of the series. So this one starts off with, we learn that Ethan Hunt has retired as a field agent, and he is now training people, but he's out of the field. He's no longer going on these missions for the IMF. He's trying to live a normal life. He has a fiance. And I found it really interesting, the opening scene, showing him and where he is in life now. It's funny because you see him with his fiance and they have this party, all these adults at this party at their house, and they're BSing, they're doing the mundane conversation, chit-chat, drinking, partying, dancing, whatever, you know, the things that normal people do. And he's fitting in really well, but you can see he's still Ethan Hunt. He's still reading lips. He knows what everybody's saying, and he's acclimating. But somebody from the IMF comes in and says, "Hey, you know, I thought you'd want to know," and you basically find out that a former trainee of his that he approved to go into the field, and he basically gave his seal of approval on, has been captured, and things just kind of take off from there.
All right, so believe it or not, I did not see Mission Impossible 3 in theater. In the theater. I did not see it.
You saw 2.
Yes, I saw 2 in the theater, yay! But I didn't get a chance to see it in the theater, and I caught it on cable when it came out a few years afterwards. And I really wasn't interested at all. I was just like, oh, we have another Mission Impossible movie.
2 put you off that bad, huh?
Yeah, the trailers look okay, but I just was just like, eh. As soon as that movie started, right at the beginning of the movie, with that scene of Tom Cruise strapped to his chair, can't escape, and possibly the best villain in the series.
Absolutely. Definitely the best villain in the series.
Played by
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
And that whole beginning sequence, did you time that? What was it?
I did. I actually, when we were watching it, I hit the select button on the PS3 controller, and at 2 minutes, my exact words were, "And this is already a better film than Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
And it was. And even though I was disappointed, it had a very Doomsday Doctor Who effect, where it really suckered you, and then at the very end they said, "Fooled you!" So I was a little disappointed with that, but the scene still stands as a fantastic way to start off a movie and a great way to get your villain interesting.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it was intense, man. I mean, I was just like glued, like, oh shit, it's about to go down, you know? Tom Cruise putting on a really good acting performance, just freaking out. No, just don't do it. Don't do it. Come on, you know what's right. You know you gotta do what's right. You know what's right.
trying to take control and just see it slipping away. He goes from oh shit to no, I can control this, to oh shit in a matter of 2 minutes, and it's a great watch. Yeah. So Ethan is dragged out of semi-retirement, to rescue his former trainee, Agent Ferris, played by Kerry Russell. Convincingly so. You know, I was never one to watch Felicity, but I knew what Felicity was, and I knew what the character was, so, you know all you need to know about the actor, just knowing that. And she was fine. She was pretty good. He's sent in with a new team, of course, with the exception of Ving, who we actually get to see, be more like Ving.
Yes!
We actually get to see Luther and not the John Woo Luther. Who's just kind of there. And of course he's got a new team. And we have 2 new, soon-to-be disposable characters in the sequel, in Maggie Q and Jonathan Rhys Meyers, I believe his name is Rhys. For the better part of things, they're at least more remarkable than what's his nuts from the second film.
Yeah, the guy who flew the helicopter, and that was it.
And I think he had an accent.
Did he have a line?
He probably had a few lines. It's possible. And you know, again, their personalities, they're all interchangeable until the fifth movie, which we'll get to. But I like Maggie Q. She's got a good screen presence, and I really wish they would have kept her around for another film or two, but hey, what are you gonna do? And the other guy, he was fine. Everybody's fine. Everybody's good for their respective roles. We have the Fishinator. We've got Lawrence Fishburne playing the part of
Predators. Lawrence Fishburne.
No, we ain't getting into that.
Shh. Get the hell out of my house!
Playing Secretary Red Herring, as I like to call him. Yeah, they tried to set him up as a red herring, as being the secret villain of the IMF. I didn't buy it for a second, but it's okay. It's alright. It was fine. They did a good job in trying to at least make an attempt to tell an intriguing story.
Mm-hmm.
So, back to the main meat. So, they all get sent in to save Kerry Russell's character. And they succeed. They actually get her out. She's been tortured. She's been kidnapped. She was actually disavowed, but they're like, hey, no, you know, she knows things. And of course, there was really a more nefarious purpose for going in and getting her, which you later find out it was just because the real rogue agent of the IMF wanted to make sure that she didn't have anything on him. And so they get her out, and she dies.
Didn't go so well there.
She kind of dies really poor, like really badly, like Philip Seymour Hoffman's Davian. His villainous character implants her with this little capsule that has this explosive in it, and it's basically on a timer. And once it breaks, you only have a certain amount of time before it basically explodes in your head. And nothing like super graphic, but it's effectively disturbing how she died. And so now we have our new MacGuffin called the Rabbit's Foot, and Philip Seymour Hoffman has that, Davian has that, and now we have to go find out what's up with the Rabbit's Foot, and you know, you got that, and then you've got Ethan goes and gets married, and that was okay. It was a little stupid because Luther kept punking him out. Hey man, you can't have a normal life in the IMF, and you can't do this and you can't do that. And as soon as he finds out he's married, congratulations, dude! So Davian, being this bigwig arms dealer that nobody can seem to touch, and now that he's killed an agent, the team have to go after him. So we have our obligatory ball sequence where we have to have the token hot chick of the film dress up provocatively in a barely there gown. You could do worse though, right? And they had this really interesting, really good transitional scene where they're putting on the prosthetic mask on Hunt to make him look like Davian. And they had this really nice shot where you go from actually seeing them put the mask onto him to suddenly it's actually Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's a really good scene. They kidnap him. They get him on this plane and they're taking him back to the IMF. And we have one of the best scenes. I would have to say, as much as I like the first movie and as much as I enjoyed Rogue Nation and Ghost Protocol was fine, we'll get to all that. This is probably my favorite scene in the entire franchise. So they have Davian tied up in the plane. They're on their way back to the IMF, and Hunt starts questioning him about the Rabbit's Foot. And the scene starts off with Hunt in all of his cockiness and confidence, questioning him like he would anybody else, like, oh, you're gonna tell me what you want to know. And Hoffman's just like, his face is like, who are you?
Oh,
just this can't be bothered with this little peon in Ethan Hunt.
Brilliant.
Ignoring everything he's saying. And Hunt's trying his best to be his normal Hunt self and like, oh, you're gonna tell me what I want to know. And Davian just comes out and says,
You have a wife, girlfriend? Whoever she is, I'm gonna find her. I'm gonna hurt her. And then I'm gonna kill you right in front of her.
And in a matter of seconds, you see all of Hunt's confidence just melt away. And Davian is so clearly unintimidated by all of this, and all of Hunt's tricks and tricks of the trade just right down the toilet. And it's just a phenomenal scene of just two people bantering back and forth, and then both reacting to each other in such a flawless way, of just great performances from two actors. Unfortunately, one of them is no longer with us. And great performance from the both of those guys. So this movie, while it was definitely welcome in the wake of that which was doves and slow-mo, there was a couple of parts that I was kind of like, no, you know, it was okay. I wasn't too crazy about the ending. The ending was a little too sweet.
Little too sweet.
Okay, it was. I got a cavity from it. I couldn't determine if I had a problem with the fact that his wife took out the villain of the film. And I don't mean Philip Seymour Hoffman, because they pulled a Bane and a Talia al Ghul like they did with The Dark Knight Rises, and you had this phenomenal villain in Davian, only for him with one line to be thrown away as the secondary, and suddenly we're dealing with the rogue IMF agent who's trying to change the internal way that things are done. He doesn't like the way the IMF is being run. He thinks they need to be more maverick, they need to be more bold and more, I guess, aggressive, you could say. He doesn't like the way things are being done. He wants to change everything. And he's basically holding Davian on a leash, even though Davian doesn't see it that way, apparently. He basically calls him a weed. And if you get rid of him, you're just gonna have more sprout out. We had one of the most charismatic, intimidating villains the most of the series, only for him to be casually brushed aside as a weed. He got hit by a car.
Yeah.
Hunt didn't even kill him properly. He kind of accidentally got hit by a car, and that was all there was to be said about him. It was anticlimactic for sure. So we have our new villain that, he's okay, I guess, for the purpose of it. And so you find out that Hunt has the same implant in his brain that's going to blow up if he isn't administered with an electrical charge to stop it. Well, they have a defibrillator. Well, they needed a defibrillator. And he has to makeshift an electrical charge to fry it out so that it won't kill him. So he does, and he dies. Well, luckily, his wife is a doctor. I'm pretty sure she's a doctor. I don't think she's a nurse. Yeah, and she ends up being the one that suddenly becomes a crack shot, because Ethan is dead at this point. He had to shock himself to fry the thing, and she was gonna have to revive him, but in the meantime, you got these guys that are still coming after them. And
keep in mind, she has no experience holding a gun.
She doesn't even know that,
reloading it.
She doesn't even know that he's with the IMF.
Or do anything with the gun.
She got kidnapped. Alright, she got kidnapped. And she has no idea what the hell's going on. And suddenly, Hunt's dead. She has to pick up a gun, and suddenly she's able to kill 3 guys. One of them being the new main villain. And she's a damn good shot for someone who has no experience in any of this. And then she brings him back, and okay, that's fine. What were you saying about you highly doubted the IMF would let a civilian in?
Yeah, it was like the ending was so sweet. I mean, we don't have an issue with happy endings, you know, but it was just like the ending was so sweet that basically they showed her, a civilian, walking through IMF headquarters with Hunt, holding hands, meeting everybody, meeting Simon Pegg, who was just introduced in this film. And just everything's fine. The secretary doesn't have any problem with a civilian walking around an IMF headquarters. And then when they walk away, they're both holding hands, smiling, and you see Ving Rhames and everybody in the back like, yeah! Like celebrating. Go on the honeymoon, boy! That's right! You can do it! It was so wrapped up too sweet. We gotta end the movie now. Let's just kill the villains quickly.
Slow-mo of them walking down the hall hand in hand.
Yeah, it was so sweet that it almost felt like a dream. Like I was waiting after that whole scene. I was waiting for the Hunt to wake up, or the camera pans back to him in real time and he's dead,
or she really got killed, which was the big fake out at the beginning.
or something. But those are the little issues that we had. But overall, this movie felt like Mission Impossible again. Not that other movie, you know, the Matrix wannabe with doves. Okay, this felt like Mission Impossible again. We had Ving Rhames back through the whole movie when he was needed. We had the team aspect again. Okay, and it just felt like Mission Impossible again. And Tom doing all those crazy stunts again. There's a scene in the movie. This dude is just, the camera follows him the whole time to make sure it's him, that you know it's him, and he just runs and just jumps off this building. Just runs and jumps. Whee! You know, like the old Disney scream that Goofy used to make in those old cartoons. Alright? Okay, really, it's crazy. And then that one scene after he lands in the middle of the street and he almost gets hit by that car. I mean, this is some Jackie Chan shit. Okay, I mean, I never thought the guy from Top Gun would be Jackie Chan in his 50s, okay? Doing all this crazy stuff. But what I liked about this movie, this was a non-stop adrenaline rush, man. It was like, we had this really intense sequence on the bridge. Great action sequence with Tom Cruise versus this drone. Okay, that was fantastic. Even though they showed it a billion times in the trailer, that was a fantastic scene. And then it would calm down and we go to our next set piece, and then all of a sudden, boom, we're back at it again, another action sequence. But it was done in a way, some people felt that it was too bloated, like it was too
much action and not enough substance. Where I felt like all the action pieces made sense to the plot. And I, believe it or not, I actually liked this style over substance because the substance was still there.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of just, okay, now we gotta do this, boom. Well, now we gotta do this, boom, action. Now we gotta do this, boom, action. But it was all for a purpose. So I actually didn't mind the constant action of this film.
So thankfully, J.J. Abrams came in and brought this franchise back on track where it's supposed to be. Spy espionage, genius, and greatness.
Spies. And hey, a love story we can actually believe.
So we give Mission Impossible 3.8 out of 5 ninja stars. Now it's time for Ghost Protocol. Here's a quick plot synopsis. The IMF is shut down when it's implicated in the bombing of the Kremlin, causing Ethan Hunt and his new team to go rogue to clear their organization's name. Right, so here we are again with another sequel. Several years after the third one. It was actually a while since we had a Mission Impossible movie since 3, and a lot of people were kind of like, well, do we really need another Mission Impossible movie? They got their trilogy, they should stop, this is the end. And a lot of other people were doubting that Brad Bird was going to be a good, live action movie director because he had no experience in live action. He mostly did the Pixar films, Ratatouille, I believe he did Iron Giant. It's not Pixar, but he also did The Incredibles. But this is his first live action film. Do not blaspheme The Incredibles!
It was dumb!
Shut up! But to all the doubters, all the haters out there for the series, Brad Bird did a really good job, okay? And he brought his own flavor to the franchise. Every movie's got a different director. Every movie's got their own feel, for better or for worse. Abrams brought the seriousness and grittiness back. Bird brought some lightheartedness, some comedy, which was a needed change. I think it was a good change.
Yeah, I felt that this is the first time you really feel that this is becoming a true franchise and not just another sequel. There is a difference between a sequel and a franchise sequel, in my opinion. An example would probably be like at first the Fast and the Furious. Fast and Furious series at first was just Too Fast, Too Furious. It was a sequel. It was not a franchise sequel where, okay, it's all starting to come together. It's starting to have a cohesion to it. This was the film that really started to also blend the seriousness, the story, the action, and the humor, giving everything equal parts, whereas Mission Impossible 3, it felt was more about action and a little bit better storytelling. And as is tradition, we have our fourth interchangeable chick. I don't know her name. Don't care. You're not going to remember her. Her motives are stock. And we have our obligatory hot chick in her dress with a ball scene, just because. And, yeah, she was there. Don't really care. But we have the introduction of Jeremy Renner's character. Had a lot of good banter with him and Simon Pegg. Again, we really started getting into the humor and the camaraderie and the interaction with the team. You actually kind of start to feel a little bit more like a team, even though you don't really get Ving Rhames in this movie. But, of course, the trade-off to this actual more of a cohesion of a team, actually getting a better, more fun to watch team together.
Even if the gadgets didn't work out so well this time around, which was good. It was something different. Not all the gadgets worked and everything wasn't perfect.
Yeah. So the trade-off for that is now we have a new head of the IMF secretary who dies within the first, 20 minutes of the film maybe? And we have our generic villain, whom I call Sergey Evil, because he's just another stock villain that you just don't really remember, and that's the problem. You set that bar with the Davian, and we still haven't had another villain like him. Even in Rogue Nation, we have not gotten there yet, and I don't think we'll ever get another villain as interesting and captivating as Hoffman's villain. So, and another really kind of lame thing that they tried to make a point of in the film. What do you do when you have a main character who gets married? Well, you can either Sherlock Holmes it, where Watson got married, and in the span of one story, his wife is killed off, never to be heard from again, even though he gets married a second time. It's like, okay, why'd you kill her off in the first place? Anyway. And it looked like they were actually going with that story for a while. And apparently, they actually did write it in that she got killed off camera in this story that Renner keeps talking about.
And that was some of the best stuff in the film. You know, the tenseness between Hunt and Renner. You know, Renner feeling all that guilt, okay, because he was supposed to protect Hunt's wife from being killed, him and his team, and they failed. And then Hunt went off the chain and ended up getting revenge and killing the people that killed his wife. That was great stuff.
But they didn't want to depress the hell out of the audience like they did with Hicks and Newt and even Bishop to an extent in Alien 3. And they pussed out at the end.
Right at the end!
Oh, we faked her death. So we killed 6 people so that Hunt can get into a prison. But it was all a cover-up because she's still alive and he watches her from afar and oh, she's still alive. Sorry, I didn't care.
So again, another sweet ending, but not as sweet as, you know, the fairy tale fantasy ending of Mission Impossible 3. Woo! But I had a lot of fun with this one. And again, this kind of brought the franchise back, you know, because people just kind of like, this is trilogy.
Yeah.
And now it's like, hey, man, the new Mission Impossible movie was good. Now, I actually had some people tell me when that film came out, and I enjoyed it, and I had a lot of fun with it. Some people at work and some other people that I know, they were saying, man, the movie was boring, man. There was no shooting, man. The movie was boring. I was bored, man. It was bad, man. There wasn't any action. It was bored. And I'm like thinking, like, it's a spy movie, okay? Spy, okay?
Espionage.
Espionage.
Thriller. And compared to 3,
yeah,
if you're going to go off of 3 standards, oh yeah, the movie is much slower in pace, but again, we're still kind of finding our stride. You can't have every single Mission Impossible movie be balls to the wall action.
Yeah.
And this one, they did opt for concentrated action set pieces, really insane stunt work with Cruise once again on that freaking building.
I mean, when you're going to see a spy, espionage, thriller, Mission Impossible movie, seriously, were they expecting this?
Once again, the ever insane Tom Cruise. I don't want to say he has a death wish, and it's rude to say that he's trying to stay relevant. I think he
enjoys it.
I think he enjoys it, but I think he wants people to know that he's doing it because I think he cares. I think he wants you to know that he's.
Somebody cares?
I think he wants you to know, hey,
in Hollywood? What?
I want you to see that it's me doing this because I'm willing to risk my life so that you can sit your ass in a theater for 2.5 hours and enjoy this thing that I'm producing, because he's been producing these films ever since the second movie. I applaud that crazy son of a bitch. And thank God I didn't see that scene in IMAX.
I did. And that one scene, that very first scene where he puts on the glove so he can stick to the glass, and when he breaks the first glass, and as soon as Ethan Hunt steps out of the building, Brad Bird did this great thing where the camera kind of followed him like this. And I remember being in the theater and going, oh shit, oh shit. But that's called great directing.
Yeah.
And that's really him on that damn building. It's insane, man. It's nuts. If something went wrong, that's it. Jeremy Renner, you're the new star of Mission Impossible.
And another thing that this movie really excelled with was taking a secondary character who had a very brief part in Mission Impossible 3 and beefing up his role, recognizing that, yeah, we need some humor and Simon Pegg's the guy to do it. And we have his character now, a fully fledged field agent of the IMF, going out into the field with everybody and joining in on the antics. And there was a really fun scene with him and Tom Cruise in a hallway where they had to set up this computer with these projectors to fool the guard at the end of the hallway so they could keep moving, inching forward. And that scene is actually a really good example of the entirety of the film. It's a slow burn. That particular scene was agonizing in every single inch they had to advance. And you just hoping that the guy doesn't notice. And that's the movie in a nutshell. It's a slow burn. And every once in a while you'll have something big happen.
And then Tom Cruise would run from things. I know that's a running gag. I know it's a joke.
That started in 3 though.
Right. I know. I think it started in 1. He ran from stuff a little bit. But I mean, it's fine. Yeah. The guy could run, okay? Cardio.
He's gonna run his ass
off. Cardio, man. So going back to the ball sequence where they had to get the password. That was kind of the part of the film where it kind of felt slow. Kind of slowed the movie down. Everything building up, the secretary getting killed, all of them being disavowed, them being hunted. The movie went all the way up, straight to that Dubai building. And then right after that, it was the ball sequence. And then the movie just kind of started to drop a little bit. But we had a decent car chase. But that awesome, really badass car they had in that movie that I kind of wish they kind of did more with. But had a decent fight sequence in the parking lot structure.
It was different. Yeah, it was. They tried to do something different with the different levels of the very strange parking lot towards the end.
Yeah.
With the villain kind of pulling I regret nothing. And that was so overall, yeah, it was a bit slow in some parts, but I feel that this was the one that was. MI3 kind of brought it back into the realm that it needed to be at, and Ghost Protocol is definitely starting to steer it in a better direction where it's a better mix of the two and not just one strong one, which is the third one, which is strong action, or the first one, which is a strong story. We're starting to blend it a little bit better, and it's a great segue into 5, which becomes the official sequel, where the end of Ghost Protocol mentions the Syndicate, and that leads directly into Rogue Nation. So, all in all,
we give Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol 3.9 out of 5 Ninja Stars.
And there was a really, 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 really cute Luther cameo at the end. That was very nice.
More Ving Rhames.
I was a little sad when I didn't see his name in the opening credits. They faked me out. They actually did a good job of faking me out. And he showed up right at the end. I was like, yay, Luther.
Alright, that's it for today's episode of Retro Reviews. So let us know in the comments below how you rank Mission Impossible 3 and Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Some people like 3 better than 4, but some people say 4 is the best in the franchise. But we'll get to that with our next upcoming review of Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. Stay tuned.